Okay, guys, so I'm doing a little bit better this morning, but I just cried throughout the whole night. I just cried and cried and cried, and that's what I was afraid of. Once the floodgates open, there's no going back. So, I let myself just cry and cry, and I'm not going to church this morning because, see, I told you my nose gets red when I cry, or when I'm cold. When I'm cold, my grandmother, I used to bus with her in the city. And she's like, "You're just like me." She's like, your nose gets red when you're cold like me. So I've been crying a lot. That's why my face is so puffy and my nose is so red. I've been crying a lot. And um, they say the love of money is the root of all evil, and it is so true. It is so true. My husband chose to leave and take the money. And I said to my one of my sons, if he has money, it's not, it's he's not going to leave any money to me. And not that it matters. It really doesn't matter. If money mattered to me, I would have prostituted myself when I was younger. I would have done a lot if money was the number one thing to me. So one of them's like, I didn't know he had any money, and he does. It's not his money. It's his parents' money, right? It's not his. They gave it to him. So he's never had money, never. So when I was with him, he had nothing, and I was there for him when he had nothing, and now that he has something, he doesn't want to share. Okay, and um, I'm not like that. If someone's good enough when you have nothing, they're good enough when you have something. That's the way it's supposed to be in life. Any success I've had should be shared with my husband. Any success he's had should be shared with me. And even if he gives it to our sons, they obviously will give it to me because I'm very close to my sons. So it doesn't matter. And matter of fact, one of my sons toughen you up. They do. They do. They just have a way of toughening you up. And I have been tough on my sons at times for their good because I love them. And they toughen you right back up. So one of my sons, he's like, I really don't care if dad dies. I don't. And he just they're mad at their dad. I'm just going to eat breakfast soon. And their dad does not get a free pass with them. Their dad does not get away with anything with them. Especially one of my sons, I mean, I gave him interest, but he helped his mom, and he saw his mom have to have a car breakdown and go without work and this and that. And he helped with, I owe him about $10,000 with interest. So he helped out, and my other sons helped out. And I don't have a problem with sons helping out their parents later on in life. And um obviously I will be paying that all back to him. And just we were really left with nothing. So um and especially in this economy, it's been tough. So all the inflation and everything. So what I want to say is, I'm getting better this morning, but I don't know what got into my husband. I don't know what got into him. We've always been really good friends. Um, in the end, he was just being real nasty to me. Um, we've always, I mean, I do reminisce about the beginning, and a lot of people don't divorce because they're stuck in the beginning. They can't move forward because that beginning is where they're still stuck, and you want to move past that. But um, I mean, we used to, he chased me since like first laid eyes on me in like second grade. Third grade, him and his friends picked on me, had fun, making throwing food at, around, food fights, pictures of me coming out of a spaceship. Picked on me so much that I did cry to my mom and my aunt. And my aunt said, Melissa, the reason why they're picking on you is because they like you. and it was it was like nonstop daily. And then that's probably why I tend to be a tough person too. I mean, I used to get picked on quite a bit in school from the boys, and I've had a lot in life where my family have, they've come from the projects. So I just, I tend to be that way. I tend to be kind of on the tougher side. And but I have a heart. That's I do have a heart where some people don't. And third and fourth grade, we were friends. We were hanging out. Fifth and sixth grade, friends. And, we got to have a lot of fun together in school. In sixth grade, we used to, we used to talk about the teachers with our friends. We had a small group of friends that we were the in crowd. And we had like Jeff and Chris and Jason and Sherry and another Chris and all this group of friends. We were tight, and we used to go to school every day, and we used to just have fun. I mean, we used to play soccer together. My husband played soccer. I did cheerleading. The boys would drag me by my feet across the soccer field. I remember my mom was pretty upset about those grass stains on my pants. Um, in the winter, we used to go up the hill, and I had boots on that didn't have much traction. So the boys would pick on me and push me, and it didn't take much of a push for me to have to slide back down the hill because I had no traction on my boots. And just, I mean, a ton of memories. I don't have my yearbooks, but we were in the picture together in the same class at times. And so we just had such a good friendship when we were kids. And then I broke up with he wanted to go out with me, kid stuff, right? Like I went out with Jeff for one day, broke up with him. Mike Briggs, a couple hours, broke up. Nothing major. And then he wanted to go out with me in like eighth grade, and I broke up with him the day after. I mean, that day it didn't feel right, and his best friend Brian's like, "You broke his heart. He's crying. You made him cry." And I felt awful, and I'm like, I just don't want to go out with him. And I dated this kid Bobby for a little bit, and Ben and I mean, we were friends with all these kids. When Bobby and I broke up, Chicago, I think he had given me a record, Hard to Say I'm Sorry, with Chicago. And we just had like all this stuff going on all the time. We went to the Harlem Globetrotters game together. With all of our friends, all of us were friends, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade. We had a strong group of us. And then once we went to Pembroke Academy, we all kind of, were scattered because it was a bigger school. But my husband and I were still really good friends. And he got grounded a lot, so I couldn't see him after school sometimes, which really stunk because he would be punished and he couldn't see me, was one of his punishments. Or he couldn't have his bike or whatever. And so he'd pass notes to me all the time in the hallway at Pembroke Academy. We always were friends, but I was dating, by sophomore year, I was dating Randy, and then I dated Mike, and we were still friends. I had a car by then. We were going out, and he still wanted to date me, but I was with Mike and Randy, and he respected that. And then he liked some other girl, and I didn't really like that he liked her, and they were, going out, kid stuff again, though. But then he got his rabbit, and I was dating him by then. We went out. He had his rabbit from Tim's used truck in Epsom. He fishtailed that, wrecked that vehicle. Then he had a tan rabbit, and his cars were everything to him. And then when we were living together, he had the Nova, no, the Aspen, and then we lived. That was on. The Aspen was on Monroe Street. Super cool car. We listened to Aerosmith together. We had our first place together. Then we moved he moved back home. I moved back home. I was now living on my own by my Uncle Bill's place, his old place, and my husband missed me. He had broken up with me because I went to college. He missed me, so we're now living together at Route 28. And, lots of memories there. I brought him a keyboard he held on to for years. Um, and, my family knew him. He was part of my family, just like I was part of his extended family. And then, he went to my Uncle Bill's wedding with me and saw Bill and Steve, my other uncle, fighting and pushing each other in the pool. And um, just so many memories. My Aunt Kim was married. I was her bridesmaid. Her maid of honor, and the dresses were handmade, and he was there for that. Uh, we were on North State Street after that. After we were in Bill and Tina's apartment when we were first married. That's where I got married, on Route 28. We got married at his parents' house. We went to Vermont on a honeymoon. Lots of good memories. Um, and he helped change me for the better. He really did. And then, then when I would go over to his parents once we had kids, his mother, I admired at one point. I really did. And I used to watch how she did her homemaking and how she organized stuff and how she wrote everything down, and, and appreciated so much that they had done for us. And let me think. So here we are, too, before we had kids. We're on North State Street, and my husband has a Firebird, and, where he's fixing up his car there. And then we have, we got into, where'd we go? Princeton after that. And I had left. He wasn't being nice to me, and I left. And he fought for me to come back. And then, I had already dated somebody else, so I didn't care about dating again and just left. And then we had gone to Princeton. Was that? No, that was Princeton. I was in hairdressing school. I was working 2 other jobs at the same time. And then we went to Pennacook, and we stayed there for a little while. And we had our firstborn son there. And then so we had gone through quite a bit by the time we got over there. And then we went to, I had gotten saved after my firstborn. Things started to kind of straighten out our lives a little bit. Then we had our secondborn. Then we were over in a trailer park for 23 years, and we had a very close-knit family. Had a very rich life in a trailer. It doesn't make sense, but I had all the time to take care of my kids and my husband while he worked. He didn't overwork. We had plenty of time together. And then once we moved into the house, because the trailer was falling apart, money became more of a focus. Okay, so, the trailer had to be taken care of, the house had to be taken care of, I had to work more, we had less time together. But we did enjoy the house a lot. I mean, we kayaked. He had more time with his sons. We had just so much going for us, so much. And then when Mike wanted to sell the place, we were still good. We were still good. He's like, you know what? I'm like, I'll go to Colorado, make sure we have housing, and, work things out from there. So he couldn't wait, and he decided to divorce and thought the worst of me. So instead of seeing, wait a minute, she's calling people, she's on the phone, she's trying to figure things out, just like I was that summer. He didn't want some houses. He decided to go after the money and leave me in the dust. So he hasn't taken responsibility for that he left his family and didn't want to work at things. So the love of money, the money means nothing. It means nothing. I can work. You know what I mean? I'm fighting for half because I was married for so long, but money comes and goes. When I took a financial class, I've taken a few. One of the guys, this was like Finances 101 at church, and one of the guys said, money's like eagles. it flies, it has wings, it comes and goes, and it's so true. You can have money one day and the next day you're flat broke. And so to base things on money is stupid. And when people only care about money over relationships, it's really not wise. So I'm somebody who was brought up with, I mean, we had stuff, but, my dad was very, very, he was brought up in the country. So he, knew how to live off very little. I mean, he didn't really buy me stuff growing up. He used his time instead to do stuff. He hunted and fished, and he could live off like nothing. So I am not somebody who was brought up to really care that much about money. And yes, when I was a teenager and had money and worked, I did become materialistic at one point because I was trying to fill something in my heart. I just felt empty and I didn't know what it was. So I would buy myself clothes, or I'd go out to eat, or I would think things would make me happy and they didn't. But that was just trying to fill a void in my heart. And once you know Christ, that is filled and you are satisfied. And it doesn't really bother me money either way, whether I have a lot, where I have had times of having a lot. I used to have a closet full of clothes my mother brought me. My grandmother used to buy me things all the time, and then I just got sick of stuff and threw stuff away. So money is not what motivates me, and what has broke my heart is not my husband being like, oh, I'm going to fight with you and be vengeful and all this, because I can fight. I mean, I can fight. I'm very good at fighting for what I believe in. And you're brought up to be like a fighter when you grow up sometimes, right? But what can break my heart is my love for my husband, and he doesn't know love when it's under his nose. He can't even see it when it's right under his nose. So I have loved my husband immensely, invested in him a lot, and if he is happy without me, then great. Go have fun. Go have fun on your motorcycle. I would not be resentful that he had been well taken care of. His family wants to give him money. Wonderful. Great. He's happy. He's got money. A lot of people who have money still are not happy though. And so, he's never had money, and he never even was a person who really wanted it. I mean, he would hand me over his check and just be like, I just want money for this. Or before, when we were first married, it was cigarettes. We had no money and he smoked, which, didn't work well, but he quit smoking and he was drinking at one point, and he turned his life around. And, so we had a really good life, and not to live in the past because it's the future that matters. But we had an awesome marriage. I mean, we were very, very close. Even when we were in the bedroom together. I mean, we were like, he's like, I just love you so much. I love everything about you. I love how you're made. I love making you happy in the bedroom. And a woman should be pleased in the bedroom. Let me say that. She should be. Just like he should be. And, he always felt like after we spent time together in the bedroom, he always felt closer to God, he would say. And that can be a form of worship too for married couples. We would pray together. We would talk about everything under the sun. And I can talk. So I would always go to my husband and be like, well, this happened at church. And he'd be like, well, and he would give me advice. And then I'd be like, well, this is what's going on at work. And he'd be like, you know what? Yeah, that happens to me too at work. I know what you're thinking. And he would always, I know how you feel. He would always let me be like a sounding board to him. And he would do the same thing for me. He'd be like, I am not happy at work. He did not like work. He was always mad about work. He's like, I am miserable at work. I'm sick of that place. There's no organization. The tires, I always have to fix them. Everyone messes them up. And guess who has to fix them? Me. So, I would listen to him, and we would talk, and we would go kayaking together. And at the end, we were still good despite him at times not being happy. And even after he pushed me, I forgave him. It wasn't even a month that he was in his truck, and he was at the house. He was working things out. His sons had warmed up to him a little bit. Everything was good. Even when I left, I still got the gas card that we talked about. So I don't know what got into him when he got in his truck and didn't want to go get a hotel and didn't want to, I guess he just got sick of not having, a home, and he could have easily, looked for one. And I definitely was trying to figure things out and put some money aside for us and to get a place. And it's not my fault that, the whole housing market is the way it is, and I couldn't do it. He kept some money for him, and he didn't hand me over his whole check. He kept money for him. He had money for food and everything. And, I was even like, look, why don't you keep part of this, because you need money too. And, plus I was working and trying to make it work. So just because it was not at his timing and it took me a little longer and people jumped in to give him and buy him stuff doesn't mean that I wasn't taking care of stuff. So his lack of trust in God, just doing things in his own strength, really, really destroyed things. So I do miss my husband, and I hope he's happy, and I hope he's not dying, because like I said, he's a part of me. When you are married for so long, it's not just that you've been married for so long, it's you are the one flesh, and I am bone of his bone, flesh of his flesh, just as he is mine, and we are still one before God. So it's not just, it's a habit, you've been together so long. No, it's you are one person. So that's what I got for now. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.